This is Beyond the Margins, where we go deeper into story, creativity, and the courage it takes to speak your truth. Join host Jen Chambers each week for writing inspiration, conversations with creative minds, the yearly 12-week Artist Sway series, or the Write Your Story series, all designed to help you find, shape, and share your voice. Because your story doesn't end on the page, it begins beyond the margins.
Hello, friends. It's Jen. Welcome back to the Beyond the Margins and our Slow Season series. Last week, we began creating a slower and more mindful path toward the holidays. This week, I want to talk about something that makes my heart happy, making things by hand. I know this isn't for everybody, so stay with me. When I slow down enough to create, even when it's something simple, I feel grounded again. And that's what this week is all about. Handmade moments, small acts of creation. These things connect us back to love, to memories, and to the people who matter most. And I'm a firm believer that anybody can be creative and anybody can make things. You just have to try. It may not be perfect, but listen, I've always been enthusiastic, maybe not the most skilled, but it seems like when I try, the effort always comes through. And I'm a lot better than I used to be. I mean, I've always been a nervous kind of crafter. I think that's part of it. I tend to do that when I'm anxious or overwhelmed. I'm always, at least I used to be, knitting lopsided scarves or crocheting something that might be a hat or possibly a pot holder, depending upon how it turns out. But I've done it enough. Just putting in the hours. I've gotten a lot better. And there's something about the rhythm of that. For me, it's that repetition of my hands at work. Making something by hand for someone is kind of like you're sending a message to them. It's a way of saying, I was thinking of you. And I always also am very appreciative of the fact that when my hands are busy, my mind is still. I don't know if that's something that might help you, but think about it. In a season that can feel rushed and overstimulating, the idea of creating gifts slows time down. It reminds us that the meaning isn't necessarily in how much we spend, it's found in how much intention we pour into what we make. I want to focus on crafting as an act of love. I really believe that crafting and giving homemade gifts is one of the gentlest rebellions against the consumer frenzy of the holidays. You're deliberately combating the evil empire. Well done. Every stitch you take, every slice of something that you make, every time you stir your spoon, it's a moment of love and choice. These little handmade things are small touchstones. They're like time capsules filled with care. When we gift something handmade, we're also offering time. And that might be the most valuable thing any of us have to give. I was so touched by, and I'm sure this story is not only mine. A lot of other people probably have this, but I was very touched when my grandmother passed away a couple of years ago. We were cleaning out of her things, and she had held on to every thing that I knitted her, every thing that I drew. She had held on to it, and she was 99 and a half. That was a long time to hold on to things. And they weren't that great at the beginning. But then as I got older, and I'm very flattered that she kept them all, I also feel better for her that they were slightly nicer as time went on. But that wasn't the point, right? I was making her something because I loved her. Okay, here's 6 handcrafted moments for you. These are a few simple, cozy creations that make beautiful and meaningful gifts, and there's no stress and no perfection needed. Often when I teach classes on creativity, people are like, well, I'm not an artist, or I'm not a writer, or I'm not a crafter, and okay, you're not until you start, and then you are. You don't have to be Martha Stewart to be making things. All you have to do is try. The first one is something that I've been making a ton of this week. My dad and I were very lucky because this week, my dad's neighbor, I'm from a farm, and we have a cattle farm, but our next door neighbor has a lot of apples. And they asked us, it was just about to start to rain, and they were like, hey, you want to come over? We have a couple of red Gravenstein trees that we would love for you to harvest. Just take it for free. We would just love it to not be wasted, which I really like that ethos anyway. It's so nice when it's there. Why not? And so kind of them to share it. So I've been making everything out of apples. So the first thing is something you could make whether or not you get them from the farm or if you just get a bag from the store. Totally, totally valid that way too. So to make cinnamon sugar apple slices, it's just delicious. You core the apples. You don't have to peel them. Slice them thinly, I would say about 1/4 inch or so. You can use a mandolin if you'd like. And then I like to take a large Ziploc bag and put in about a cup of sugar and 2 or 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. You could make it as strongly cinnamony as you'd like. But then you toss the apples in it. And I made the mistake, so learn from me. Do just 1 or 2 apples at once, because then they'll stick and they won't get evenly coated on both sides. But there's plenty, and you can always put in more. Once you have them all covered in cinnamon and sugar, dry them in a low oven until crisp. When I say low, probably, 200, 250, even 325, depending. You just got to watch them. But they make the best snack. And I like to dry them until they're leathery. I actually use a food dehydrator, but you can do them in the oven. I've done that also. And you could have them crispy if you prefer. But they're so good, and they feel like such an indulgence. You made it yourself. They're a great treat, too. You could wrap them in small little mason jars and tie them with twine for a hostess gift. It would be a great hostess gift. Also, they're just great to eat. The second one is making dried orange garlands. This is a nice thing to do kind of like before the holiday season really ramps up, so now would be the best time. And oranges and citrus are starting to come back into the stores. I know they're there all the time, but seasonally, citrus tends to come in the winter months, in our grocery stores anyway. So get a bag of oranges and wash them. And then thinly slice them. Same thing, about, 1/4 inch thick if you can. Maybe that's a little unrealistic. Just thinly slice them. And however thin you think will work. Maybe you have sharper knives than me. And then dry them in the oven until translucent. Same thing, you want it on a low oven. And everyone's oven is different, but I try to do these at about 250. It tends to be about 30 to 45 minutes, and it all depends on how thick you cut them. But you can also do them on top of a piece of parchment paper that won't stick. And once they're dried and leathery, then you string them with twine and maybe some sprigs of rosemary, and it makes a beautiful decoration for your kitchen, for your trees, and it smells like sunshine in winter. They're just beautiful. I love them. The third handcrafted moment is making your own candles. Now, make your own candles is kind of an undertaking. You can get kits for it, but the easiest way, and you can get kits for this from Amazon, I know they're the evil empire that I just talked about, but you can get them from a lot of other supply places. Joann's is one of them. Oh, wait. Yeah, Joann's isn't the one that closed. It's I guess Joann's did close. It's Michael's now. At any rate. So you use beeswax sheets. They come in different colors. And then you also buy cotton wick, which can come in a spool, or they can come in pre-done lengths. And then you just literally roll them up. They're so quick to make, and they smell really soft, like honey. They're wonderful. And they work just like regular candles, but they're beautiful. You can also take dried flowers, as long as they're all natural flowers, and just press them into the outsides for beautiful decorations. It's super hippy-dippy and natural, but it looks so great, and they look really nice when they're lit in the evenings. They're just beautiful. The fourth thing is making your own fabric sachets. These are just little, you can sew them by hand, you could sew them by sewing machine, but they're like little small bags. You can also buy pre-done muslin bags if you prefer. You can also, one of the things that I've done in the past, and again, this is, you don't need to have to go this far, but I like to recycle a lot of things that I get at thrift stores. So whether it's, actually one of the best uses I think for these is getting old recycled men's dress shirts. Or if you have old dress shirts that they oftentimes are made of Oxford cloth. They're natural, they're really nice, and just cut sheets of fabric, maybe about the size of a paperback book, whatever you like, whatever works for you. You can make them smaller or bigger. But then sew them into a bag and then fill them with lavender or chamomile or rose petals, and then just sew them closed. Or you can tie them closed with even a piece of jute. They make really great little gifts, again, with a hostess gift. That would be wonderful. Or they're really nice to put into your drawers. The fifth thing is something that I make often. I do it in the summertime when I have it for fresh, and then I do it in the wintertime when it's dry. I like to make rosemary sea salt. It's excellent on pork. It's excellent on roasted veggies or roasted potatoes. So you mix sea salt with dried or fresh rosemary and lemon zest. You don't have to do this part, but I blend mine in a food processor. I just like it to be more finely ground. I don't know. That's just my personal preference. You can have them be large salt crystals and, larger pieces of rosemary. It's whatever you want. But they're gorgeous in glass jars. Again, mason jars, great gifts, and nice to have around during the holidays because they're already pre-made and you know exactly what's in there. It's salt and rosemary and lemon zest. That's it. Now, the last one is something I talked about thrifting a little bit. It's a thrift and gift. This is a fun thing to do, and it also takes things out of circulation, which is one of the reasons why I love to do thrift shopping or antique shopping similarly. Just scour these local stores, thrift stores or antique stores, for a fun mug and a spoon that are in good shape. There's tons of them, and they're maybe $3. They're very cheap. And there's so many cute ones that other people have gotten rid of. They can be literally any style that you like. Just take them home and wash them and sanitize them. And then fill them with a bag of homemade cocoa mix and some marshmallows maybe. And then tie on that little thrifted spoon with a fabric ribbon and a label. I have a really good basic cocoa mix I like to do, and it's 2 cups of powdered sugar, 2 cups of dry milk powder, 1 cup of cocoa powder, and a dash of salt. You just whisk it all together so it's mixed. And then add a half a cup to individual Ziploc bags or cute bags, whatever you want. And then put that in your cup. And then to make it, you add the half cup of cocoa mix to any cup, add 1 cup of hot water and whisk to combine. It's very easy. It's delicious. And having a big batch of that is great. Like, you could do that for all of your girlfriends. You could do that for, teacher gifts. They're just really fun to do. And there's no reason why you couldn't recycle something. You can also do it with things that you buy new. You could get stuff from the dollar store if you wanted it to be inexpensive, but I just love the idea of recycling it. All right, now I have one recipe to give you guys today. And I'll have these all on my website. Today's is ginger shortbread. This is a favorite for me. It's buttery and a little bit nostalgic. I love the ginger. So it's a base recipe where you take a cup of butter or plant-based butter, a half cup of sugar, and 2 cups of flour or gluten-free flour. Then a tablespoon of ginger. That's it. I just blend it all together. You don't want to blend it too much because it'll get too fine, but I do this in my Cuisinart food processor. I like it a lot. You mix them all up, press it into a parchment-lined pan, and then the trick is to score this before you bake it. So put it into the grid that you would like it to be when it's done. Then you bake this at 425 for 25 to 30 minutes. And I always sprinkle it with sugar while it's warm. You could use that rosemary salt. If you do it finely, just a little bit of that too. That would be excellent on top. I've done that before. And like I said, you can make it plant-based using vegan butter. You can use flax eggs. You can drizzle it with dark chocolate or dark chocolate and orange zest. There's a zillion different variations, but I really like the ginger a lot. Now, if you guys want to take just a second with me and take a breath for just a moment. Take a slow breath in and out. Close your eyes and keep breathing. Think about the people who bring warmth to your world. Imagine making something small for each of them. Not because you have to, but because you want to. What would it feel like to give them something that was made by your own hands? I made one year little knitted tiny stuffed animals for each of my kids. They were kind of too old for that. But you know what? They still have them because it's something that I made for them. Think about something like that you could do for the people in your life. And how would that feel to know that they cherished it? You can open your eyes whenever you feel ready. If you'd like to continue, you can write about this in your journal. And you can finish this sentence. When I create something by hand, I feel, and then let the words come, even if it's just a few lines. Creation is connection. And connection is what this season is all about. In closing today, I want to tell you that this week, I hope you take time to make one small thing. It helps if you make a little bit each week, kind of like I do with my cookie exchange cookies. I make them every week and put them in the freezer, and then by the time it comes around, I'm already ready. Whether you bake it, or you stitch it up, or you stir it, or you wrap it, or you buy it, it's okay. Let yourself feel the quiet joy in preparing something and maybe making it by hand. Next week, we'll explore the idea of gathering and glowing. We're going to talk about community and light and the warmth of shared traditions. Until then, take it slow. Make it by hand, make it simple, and let it be enough. I'll see you next week.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Our stories are brilliant. We are resilient.